On April 15th, Dragonwilds launched into early access. Barely announced, already live, and already a hit. Classic Jagex, right? Fast releases, high quality. Oh. Wait a minute. They made one of those games too? In the last 25 years, Jagex has announced tons and tons of projects. Barely any of them have actually released, and of the ones that did, the only ones that remain are old school Runescape and Runescape 3. A long track record of failed projects. In this video, we'll dive into Jagex history and see how they got from this to this. The year is 1999. Andrew Gower and his brothers, trading under the name Jagex, Java gaming experts, released Devious Mud into public testing for about a week before it was closed up. In December 2001, Jagex as we know it today was founded, and the company released Runescape. For a while, the complete focus was on Runescape, but quite some time later is where the fun begins. In October 2005, Insight Venture Partners, an equity firm with a focus on software and internet-based businesses, purchased a minority stake in Jagex with their 500,000 paying subscribers and 3.5 million active users. Absolutely unprecedented for the time. In 2008, before we worked out how to do actual game trailers, Mechscape was announced after 3 years of development. This was basically exactly like RuneScape, but in a future world. Most of this footage has been lost to time and compression, but you can see the familiar hit splats, health bars, menus, movement and animations in a clearly alien and future world. In 2009, when Mechscape was due to release, they cancelled the project due to them not being satisfied with the product and it meeting specifications of the game design document. July 2010, Stellar Dawn rose from the ashes of Mechscape to be released in 2011 and then put on pause in 2012. This pissed quite a few people off, and while it has been mentioned on Reddit, it seems mostly forgotten. Mod Matt K confirmed it was put on hold indefinitely, and the next year the community manager at the time, Mod Balance, said we started development on it, and the game we made wasn't what we wanted to be. By the time we came around to starting again, we felt like we'd missed the boat in terms of where the market was. This line is really important as we'll be seeing similar results with future products. The Mechscape arc took us forward from 2005 to 2012, 7 whole years of development and investment. A lot of these projects were being worked on concurrently. I just wanted to give a sense of what these projects were like. So let's take a step back and go through the rest of the timeline, linearly through each product lifecycle by announcement date. In February 2008, Funorb was released, alongside a ton of web browser, Java-based games. Funorb was shut down 10 years later, in August 2018, but in their defense, basically all of these style sites are dead in the modern internet. Rest in peace Congregate and Arma Games. By the way, if you didn't know, Arcanus was remade and is on Steam. You can play it today. You're welcome. In December 2010, the Gowers sold their final stake in the company, giving Insight Venture Partners a majority holding and opening up the slop floodgates. From here on, Jagex will start getting passed around like your RuneScape GF from high school between venture funds. Transformers Universe was a Hasbro-licensed Transformers MMO announced in 2011. Originally, this game was being developed as an actual MMO on the RuneScape engine. Yes, the engine with a 0.66 tick rate, before being ported to Unity. In 2014, the game was released in open beta. By the time it reached open beta 3 years later, it was literally just a MOBA. Oh, I'm sorry. A massively online tactical action game, a MOTA. Massive, of course, being defined as lobbies, and a 4v4 PvP mode that they tried to make an esport.
Decepticons get a kill back on Roll Cage. This is such a cracking game!
You'd pick a Transformer, drive around and either enter 4-player dungeons where you kill NPCs, or PvP matches and fight. Microtransactions in the beta period included buying Transformers. Oh, and resetting the cooldown of a bot if you died. That's right, if you died, your hero would be put in prepare mode, and you had to either switch off or pay to repair it mid-match. Not much other content was added before they announced it would be shut down in December 2014 before the beta even finished. I can only imagine due to disagreements between Jagex and Hasbro, lengthy development times, and releasing a bad, unpopular product. Credit where credit is due, they did refund all the players' transactions. 2014 was the time where basically every multiplayer game coming out tried to be an esport, as well as a ton of MOBAs or MODAs or whatever you want to call themselves released. Eight Realms was an MMO real-time strategy game announced in 2011 and entered closed beta May that year. Here's the trailer. And here's the gameplay. Yeah, it's one of those games. Every building is timer based, no strategy involved, a premium currency to skip timers, VIP levels, and all the usual MTX traps. So unimpressive that it makes comments like this look timeless, even though they were from 13 years ago. Shut down in 2012 due to, quote, a major and very expensive flop, and wanted to focus on Mechscape and Transformers Universe. Oops. Ace of Spades was Minecraft with guns, a voxel-based world with buildable and destructible environments. It was developed by Ben Ascoy in 2011 and then purchased by Jagex that year under the condition that Ben could remain working on it. To retain the indie image, Jagex didn't announce this purchase, and instead their involvement was hidden under a fake name, Soka Studios. Ben left Jagex in late 2012 due to disagreeing with the direction of the game, which is when Jagex fully took over. The game did relatively alright when it released as a $10 buy-to-play title, but during the shift from a slower trench-based gameplay into a much faster-paced one, a lot of players quit. This combined with a massive slowdown in updates other than DLC, which allegedly broke the game and also split the player base further, many diehard fans blame Jagex for killing the game. The updates stopped in 2015, the player base dwindled, and then the game went out with a whimper in 2018. In 2012, we had one of the largest releases that ever graced the internet. Something so large that it shakes the very fabric of gaming today, well remembered by millions of players. Carnage Racing was a Facebook game later released onto Steam, which was a cross between Twisted Metal and Mario Kart. Tune up and customize your car and dive into action-packed races with vehicular combat, guns, and explosions. Not much to say here other than this game slaps, but it did die as quietly as it launched. Oh, and later on that year, Evolution Combat released, I guess. I'm sure there's 1,000 videos, essays on that already. Did you know that old school RuneScape released only 88 days after that though? Lock and Load is Minecraft with guns, a voxel-based world with buildable and destructible environment. Huh? Deja vu. If Ace of Spades was Team Fortress 1, Lock and Load is Team Fortress 2. Alex Horton, chief creative officer at the time, said that Ace of Spades was a, quote, 4 out of 10 piece of love and friendship that sat on Steam with a pulse for the first year. So he convinced the Jagex board to have another go. This time it was developed by Jagex and Artplant. Announced in late 2014 and actually releasing in April 2015 with a story as old as time, it was a buy-to-play multiplayer shooter that changed to free-to-play MTX model in October 2015 after players dwindled. From there, it coasted with irregular updates for a few years as players fell back down again. Jagex pulled the plug and left it with the other developers in 2019, those of which who tried to launch Block and Load 2 but basically failed on that too. This game was genuinely creative, fun, and a unique take on the hero shooter genre, but it fell into the live service pitfall of players dwindling, which means it's harder to find matches, which means players leave, etc. You can still download and play it today. Kind of. DarkScape is an honorable mention in Jagex's portfolio. Announced on the 16th of September 2015, this was a version of RuneScape that forked off of RuneScape 3 around that time. It was fresh start and legacy combat only, but the entire world was open PvP other than safe hubs with security, not unlike the high and low security sectors of EVE Online. The whole game was accessible to all players, with members instead getting boosts such as bank space and an experience bonus. It was shut down just over 6 months later due to lack of interest, but it seems like it would serve as the core idea to later serve the Deadman modes and leagues. Chronicle RuneScape Legends was the first instance of Jagex waking up to the fact that they owned a legendary IP and started using it, so they made a card game. This was announced in October 2015 during the peak Hearthstone era, so everyone made the obvious comparisons. But interestingly enough, everywhere I looked, the reception was positive. Both sponsored and non-sponsored reviews accrued hundreds of thousands of views, with a majority of positive comments. Reviewers and commenters all praised a unique take on the genre, in spite of aesthetically looking like Hearthstone. Choose a hero, draw and place enemies on the board for your hero to fight, and get stronger and richer. You'd equip them with gear or recruit allies, all culminating into a final fight where you fight your opponent's hero. In spite of all this, when it fully released out of beta in May 2016, it simply didn't stick, and peaked around 3,000 concurrent players before swiftly falling. Some people cite they didn't advertise the game enough, even though there were literally NPCs inside their most popular game, as well as millions of views across YouTube. The plug was pulled on August 2018, just 2 years later. I think what happened here is they simply took on an industry giant and lost. Badly. RuneScape Idle Adventures was a joint development venture between Jagex and Hyper Hippo, the guys who made Adventure Capitalist. First appeared on Steam in February 2016 and released into early access May the same year. The game played very similar to Adventure Capitalist in that you do activities, accrue a currency called anima, purchase more workers to get more anima to make numbers go up. Skills function as upgrades, equipment for extra modifiers, and stats to go into dungeons to do some combat, which also help number go up. The game was also desktop only, not on mobile, had a cash shop, and was online only. So by 2017, when it only had a few hundred players left, they obviously shut it down, just under 1 year later in April, citing players not sticking around enough. Around the same time as all those ventures in 2016, ownership of Jagex wholly transferred to Fukong Interactive Entertainment for $300 million US. This VC was based in China, and now things go from crazy to batshit insane. This page documented and translated a Chinese stockholder document thingy that is no longer available. This document listed a ton of releases and plans for RuneScape titles, all centered around mobile. Other than the obvious RuneScape 3 and OSRS mobile, there were plans for RuneScape Dissidia, RuneScape Dungeon, RuneScape Chronicles, RuneScape Heroes, and RuneScape Next Gen to be developed by Fukong Interactive and Jagex. The description for RuneScape Dissidia is a bunch of indecipherable marketing buzzwords amounting to basically a big-ass mobile-exclusive RuneScape game, which even Square Enix has started doing with Final Fantasy XIV. RuneScape Heroes, if you read between the lines when it says card collection, recruiting heroes, and collecting rare materials, sounds exactly like RuneScape the gacha game. You can also tell by the art. RuneScape Chronicles is just RuneScape Chronicles again, but Fukong wanted to redevelop it for the East. And originally this was leaked in 2017, but RuneScape Next Gen promises a larger, richer game experience with partnership with Improbable, followed by a bunch of buzzwords. The same Improbable, later in 2022, partnered with Yuga Labs, the creators of the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Create a gamified metaverse where players can turn their NFTs into portable characters and assets. Man, what the fuck? Anyway, at China Joy, a digital entertainment expo in 2017, RuneScape made a huge appearance, with access to play RuneScape Heroes and RuneScape Chronicles, cosplays, and merchandise. Probably the best thing to come out of the partnership. Where do I get one? And this is where things stop. 16 cancelled projects. And that's just the publicly mentioned ones. There's screenshots of projects such as Aurora and other games that weren't officially announced. In my research, I found this leaked video of RuneScape Remastered, which looks to be something akin to Albion Online, which lines up with these screenshots as well. Literally none of these products were released. Turns out Fukong was up to their eyeballs in debt and was forced to sell or go bankrupt. Jagex at the time making 99.5% of their revenue. So Jagex was passed around 3 more times from 2020 to 2024. Between those years, Jagex acted as a publisher for some games, some successful, some not, but I just wanted to focus on the internal development. In recent years, other than publishing, Jagex has been quiet, full focus back on Runescape and OSRS. Since 2018, they reaped what they sowed, as the player base grew and OSRS is arguably more popular than ever, still ranking as one of the top MMORPGs of all time. But in the background, they were working hard on a new game. Not one that they announced far, far too early. Not one that was destined to be stuck in an always online player count death spiral. Not another swing at capturing as much microtransaction money as their money bags could possibly carry. Runescape Dragonwilds entered closed beta tests quietly in 2024 and officially announced on the 31st of March 2025 with a live stream scheduled 2 weeks later to show off the game. And in that live stream, this happened.
I am incredibly excited to announce that it's available now. You can go head on over to Steam because it is available now. We are shadow dropping it. You can go right now and download it.
There you go. I can hear them going crazy out there.
The whole
amazing.
business is next door losing their minds right now. That's amazing.
RuneScape Dragonwilds released to an absolute frenzy. No paid promotions, just one pure organic nostalgia-driven hype train. As I'm sure many of you know, the game is a third-person open-world survival game action RPG. And it's pretty good. It uses the RuneScape IP effectively, and most importantly, tastefully, reimagining familiar faces and familiar equipment into a third-person action RPG. Fighting abyssal demons to try and make your own abyssal whip, or using a traditional RuneScape magic and runes in creative ways to turn the survival crafter formula on its head. There's dungeons to delve into and a crafted world to explore. It can be played alone, offline, with a small group of friends, or apparently people are using it to drop in a PvP like it's a Souls-like. It has a thriving streaming and YouTube community, and they have a solid, well-planned visual roadmap which will help players stay engaged for longer. All of these cancelled titles mentioned aren't just pages on a financial statement. They're creations by real people with real jobs. Each cancelled or unsuccessful project can result in shifting of jobs or layoffs as the company tries to recuperate costs. Jagex's turbulent history with releasing products isn't exactly a secret, it's basically a meme at this point alongside Google's graveyard. So for Dragonwilds to succeed, as unlikely as it was going to, it must be a huge relief for the team who worked on it at Jagex. As for what caused it to succeed, it's hard to say. It's easy to point at a decision and say, ha, that was a bad one. But in that moment of time, they could easily have seemed like the right ones. Hearthstone was wildly successful. Let's create a unique game and market using the largest creators in that space. Idle games are cool. Let's try and make one. Maybe management changed in between the 10 CEOs and VCs they've had over the last 20 years, but this time for the better. Or maybe even simpler still, this time they made a game and put a little bit of love in. Only time will tell whether Dragonwilds carves out a legacy or collapses atop the heap of cancelled Jagex experiments. For now, it's defied the odds. Let's see if Jagex can hold on to that magic. Unless we get some candid interviews and behind the scenes, we may never know if Dragonwilds was made with love or simply the perfect corporate formula. What I do know is that this video was made with love by me. If you'd like to see more content like this, please do like and subscribe to support the channel. It only takes a moment, and I am appreciative of every single one, and I read every single comment. Thank you very much for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.